Alrighty, guys. Why do I always forget to shut my door? Give me 1 second. Sorry, bro. It went from like 80 degrees outside like 2 days ago to now it's like 50, and bro, I'm freezing. But alright, guys. So I'm gonna go over the final look for this NFL slate. It is not going. I'm not gonna go team by team. I'm just gonna go over who I like for cash games, what I like for GPPs. I'll go over the chalk stacks. I'll go over the leverage stacks, etc., etc. Individual plays I like, blah 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 blah. Pretty much just a pretty in-depth video, just going over the plays I like. And then if you are from the YouTube side of things watching this, come over to DFS Sports, our DFS Sports, 1S, so DF Sports, Reddit. My username is Shuck_Dash. You can find my posts. I always make posts on here, as you can see. Just find my username. We can take a look. So people ask me questions. I will always respond to you. Ask me whatever you want. Cash plays, GPP plays, etc., etc. I'll always respond to you guys. So yeah, make sure you come over to that. And then if you ever need to get a hold of me, you can message me on Reddit. I'll always respond to you. If you have questions with like game theory, GPPs, like what contests you should be playing, etc., etc., etc. And if you ever need to get a hold of me, you can get a hold of me on Twitter. If Reddit isn't your thing, at Tori Langley 1992. Sorry. Let's go over this slate. It's going to be a little quicker because I'm not going to be going team by team, but we're going to go over cash plays. Like I said, we're going to go over game theory, some GPP chalk stacks, GPP low owned stacks that I really like, some pivots off chalk that I really like, etc. And then if you are enjoying this, if you are interested in a Discord, I will leave the link to that below, where I will have player pools, a top plays section on the slate, cash, a bunch of content for cash games, GPP separate core, ownership projections, which in my opinion pay for itself. A community of like, I don't know, it's like 80 people talking multiple sports 24 hours a day. So yeah, great community. I think it's a pretty good value in my opinion. But if that's not your thing and you always have a question, like I said, you can message me wherever you want. I'll always respond to you. So let's get into this. We're hoping to make it 4 out of 4 cashes on main slates this week. And I think cash games are pretty straightforward. As you guys know, I'm more of a cash game grinder than a GPP grinder. So we will start with cash games. So for quarterback, and what I saw last week with people saying that someone was viable outside of Derek Carr and Trey Lance just absolutely boggled my mind. So please, if you are watching this, trust me, I have played cash games for years. Trust what I am saying. So, for quarterback, there are 2 cash game quarterbacks this week, and I wouldn't figure out playing anyone else. This week, you want to pay up at quarterback for cash games, and I'm sure you can figure it out. But those 2 guys right now are Josh Allen, $8,200, and Jalen Hurts. Now, you're going to want some savings on this slate, so I definitely do prefer Jalen Hurts. Love the matchup against Washington as well. I think he can eat them up through the air as well, with Washington just being terrible against slot receivers. And as we saw on Thursday night, A.J. Brown lined up in the slot, Devontae Smith lined up in the slot. They were just changing who was playing in the slot. So I think that definitely helps Jalen Hurts as well. And he's throwing the ball 30 plus times, which you just absolutely love to see. And his floor of rushing attempts is like 8 to 12. So let me explain. Before Jalen Hurts even throws a pass, he probably has around 8 to 10 fantasy points if you include what he's going to do with his legs. So the floor he has plus the ceiling, just absolutely love Jalen Hurts this week. I prefer him to Josh Allen, but if you have the extra salary If you have the extra $600, I would definitely get up to Josh Allen, but I definitely do prefer Jalen Hurts point per dollar. But these are your two cash game quarterbacks. Now we'll go to running back. So I think this is a pay down week at running back. I don't want JT. I don't want CMC. I don't want Henry. Obviously, he's not a cash game quarterback. Austin Eckler's snaps have gone down with him saying he doesn't want to play as much anymore, so he's not a cash game play. The only running back I'd really pay up for above 6,500 right now is Dalvin Cook against Detroit. Now he has a much easier matchup against Detroit, where he's involved in the passing game. He's probably not going to get scripted, a little bit scripted out of this game on the run side of things. So I'm expecting 20 plus touches for Dalvin Cook. Now, I definitely do prefer cheaper running backs, but he's definitely into consideration for cash games this week, and he'll be a very popular play in GPPs this week. But mainly where I'm looking to for cash is I'm looking to get to like um, David Montgomery at 5.9K. In my opinion, he's an absolute lock for cash games. Has a phenomenal matchup up against Houston. They were down to Green Bay and they still ran him into the ground. He's not going to get scripted out of this game. He's going to be involved in the passing game. They're at home. They're favored. $5 running back here for below 6K. I think David Montgomery looks like a phenomenal play this week, especially for cash games. I think Leonard Fournette at 6.5K looks like a really good cash game play this week. I don't necessarily like the matchup against Green Bay, but with his usage right now, I just think he's too cheap. We're going to have to monitor the wide receiver situation for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Right now, it's not looking like Mike Evans, Godwin, and Julio Jones are going to play, so that could definitely hurt Leonard Fournette with the impact that Tom Brady is going to have moving the ball. But regardless, his usage right now is just insane. So I like Leonard Fournette quite a bit for cash games. I think Joe Mixon is always into consideration for cash games, especially against the New York Jets. And then we'll start getting to the lower priced running backs that I think are viable. And at 5.5K, Miles Sanders is just too cheap this week. He's getting 18 plus touches. Now they are away, but he's getting goal line work as well. So I think Miles Sanders is firmly on play for cash games. I think where's Damian? I think Damian Pierce at 5K is a viable cash game running back with his usage last week and outsnapping Rex Burkhead. I think Carter is a viable cash game running back. Don't hate that. Um, who else? There's got to be someone else. We're gonna. Josh Jacobs isn't traveling with the team, so I don't expect him to play. We'll just have to monitor that situation. But I don't think I would go to any of the Raiders running backs right now. But we'll monitor it. Uh, I feel like I'm forgetting someone, or I think that might be it. Yeah, I think that's it. But yeah, those are the running backs for cash that I'm mainly targeting. So this is a balanced build, in my opinion, for cash games this week. So I'm probably not going to get to Cooper Kupp, probably not going to get to JJ, not going to get to Jamar Chase, but the guy that really stands out to me at 7.7K for cash games, in my opinion, the best wide receiver cash game on the slate. I just said plate at 7.7K. This price tag is just too cheap. He's at least $1,000 too cheap, and that offense is just incredible. We're gonna have to monitor the Gabe Davis news, but it doesn't really change much for me with Stephon Diggs. Absolutely, if you're playing cash games, absolutely lock Stephon Diggs into your lineups. Absolutely love him. Absolutely love Amon-Ra St. Brown. I mean, I told everyone his usage wasn't going to change. It's not going to change. Pretty sure he's on a record pacing. He's on record chasing if he gets 8+ targets on Sunday. Pretty sure that's going to break a record. So I'm not expecting his usage to change at all. Shootout possibilities with Minnesota. So Amon-Ra St. Brown, I think, looks like a very, very good cash game play here once again. Obviously, Kupp, JD are always viable for cash. Don't get me wrong, but this price on Stephon Diggs is just an absolute crime. Yeah, love Amon-Ra St. Brown. Not going to get to Pittman when you have Amon Ra similar priced. Who else? T. Higgins is getting a ton of steam. I think he's a viable cash game wide receiver in my opinion. Let's keep Brandon Cooks. I think looks very good. For cash games at 5.8K. This is probably the lowest price that we're going to see from him from this point forward, in my opinion. And there's just no competition on the Texans. It's Brandon Cooks and that's it. So I think Brandon Cooks is a very strong cash game play in my opinion. Let's keep going down further. Don't play Garrett Wilson in cash. I know he's gotten a boatload of targets. I expect him to be popular in GPPs, but I wouldn't trust it in cash games. I would take another wait and see approach there for another week to see if that usage is just going to continue. Keep going down. Curtis Samuel, 5.1K. Usage just absolutely insane right now. I think he's a good play at 5.1K for cash games. Jacoby Myers at $5,000, I think is a very good cash game play. Um, in my opinion, he's one of the better point per dollar wide receivers on the slate. Same thing with Houston. New England has nobody behind Jacoby that can really do anything. So he's just a safety blanket right now. So I think Jacoby looks like a very strong cash game play. Just keep going down. Keep going down. Keep going down. Greg Dortch, not really on this week at this elevated price, but fine. Keep going down. Keep going down. Zay Jones, fine with it. Perriman, gonna have to monitor the Buccaneers situation, but he could be a potential cash game wide receiver. Not gonna get to the cheap Indiana guys with Pittman's back, right? Okay, Pittman back. And Alec Pierce is in. So yeah, don't play Doolin. Probably wouldn't play Paris Campbell either. Just keep going down though. There's more guys down here. I'm sure of it. Where is this guy? Mac Hollins at 3.3K. So let's take a look. Mac Hollins ran 37 routes, got 8 targets, ended up with 5 catches for 66 yards last week with Hunter Renfrow in. Hunter Renfrow is now out. So that opens up a lot of opportunities right now for Matt Collins. So if you're going to punt at wide receiver right now, I think Matt Collins looks like a good point per dollar value. And then we're going to have to monitor the Gabe Davis news. If he is out, then I think Kumaro at the flat mid is definitely a viable cash wide receiver in my opinion. So yeah, and then let's go to tight end. Let's finish it off. You don't play anyone in cash this week outside of Irv Smith Jr. He is your cash game tight end lock. He is too cheap. Price went down because he played on Monday night. So pricing comes out on Sunday. Played on Monday night. So he's just $1,000 too cheap in my opinion. They deployed him in game 2 like they were supposed to. Cash game lock for tight end. So let's go over a cash game core. I'm gonna give you guys a cash game core because I know I felt pretty bad for you guys not in the Discord. So we're going to go with Jalen Hurts. We're going to go with David Montgomery. We're going to go with Stephon Diggs. We're going to go with Irv Smith Jr. And we're going to go with, I think, Fournette. I think that's a very good 5-man cash game core for you guys. I hope that makes up for you guys not in Discord. I will post that on Reddit too. So now let's take a look at ownership for the top stacks. So Josh Allen's, Jalen Hurts, clearly getting a bunch of ownership. So we're going to go over stacks that I like that are getting a lot of ownership. So let's do that. Obviously, the first one is, where is Philadelphia? Jalen Hurts stacks, right? So with them throwing the ball 30 plus times a game right now, and their weapons right now, and with Washington being one of the worst teams against slot receivers in the league, I think this double stack with AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts, Devontae Smith, or Dallas Goedert looks really, really good this week. Who I'm going to include in my double stacks is going to be this trio of players. Not going to include Miles Sanders with that. So I think making a double stack off of these players looks very, very good this week, but going to be extremely, extremely popular. If I'm going to be bringing it back with someone, I'm going to be bringing it back with either Terry McLaurin or Curtis Samuel. I really like Terry McLaurin this week just because he gets no ownership. The usage is going to change. Terry McLaurin is just phenomenal. I expect him to bounce back pretty big here. And then I like Logan Thomas. The Philadelphia Eagles have never been good against opposing tight ends, so I think Logan Thomas could definitely eat there. Those would be the bringbacks I would really consider. But yeah, I love this double stack this week. Obviously, we have to go to the second highest owned double stack this week that's getting a ton of steam and for good reason, and that is this Buffalo game. So nobody's stopping Josh Allen right now. Now he has a shootout potential matchup against Miami. So love these stacks. Good after monitor Gabe Davis news. If he's out, Kumaro definitely becomes a thing. Um, I would honestly prefer Kumaro over McKenzie or Crowder. And then I would include Dawson Knox in those double stacks. For GPPs, I'm probably not going to get to Tua Tagovailoa stacks. Reason being, I was on our whole Discord was on them last week. After having a ceiling game, I'm more inclined to fade because I think he's going to be a little bit overowned. But this game just has a lot of opportunities, and it's very easily stackable with a bring back when you have two very good wide receivers in Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. When you have Tyreek Hill on one side drawing double coverage, and you have an extremely, extremely talented wide receiver in Jalen Waddle drawing single coverage, they both have just incredible ceilings. I love both this week, but I think both will definitely be a little bit overowned in my opinion. What other stacks do I like? So yeah, Kirk Cousins stacks getting a lot of ownership, but for a very, very good reason. I want to take a Dalvin Cook's ownership. So Dalvin Cook and these Kirk Cousins stacks getting a lot of ownership, but it's for a good reason, right? Detroit's been in a bunch of shootouts. Minnesota's in a bounce back spot. Good matchups for both sides, in my opinion. So these Kirk Cousins stacks are going to be extremely popular with JJ, Adam Thielen. Wouldn't go to anyone else. And then Irv Smith Jr. right now stands out as point per dollar, one of, if not the best tight end plays on the slate. So I absolutely love Irv Smith Jr. right now. These double stacks are definitely very, very good. And then if you're going to bring it back with anyone, you just bring it back with DeAndre Swift, um, if he plays, and then Amon-Ra St. Brown. This game just has incredible shootout potential, so really do like that. And then we'll go over one more stack that I think will get a little bit of steam, but I think will be a very under-owned in my opinion, and that is Matthew Stafford stacks at 6.5K. They're just too cheap. Matthew Stafford's too cheap in my opinion. This game has incredible shootout potential against Arizona. Cooper Kupp we know is an absolute monster. Allen Robinson should have had 2 touchdowns last week, had one called back. Told everyone not to worry, he was just going to be fine. I think a 5.7K, you're getting a pretty good value there. And then Higby, just a target monster right now, so I definitely don't hate that. And then if you're going to bring it back with anyone, Zach Ertz, I actually do like quite a bit. Double tight end will definitely be different this week. Um, just played a lot more than he did in week one and ran a lot more routes. And he's always going to get targeted a ton with how talented he is and how many routes he runs. So I definitely don't hate doing like a double tight end stack with this. But yeah, Marquise Brown or Zach Ertz, in my opinion, could go Greg Dortch. But yeah, I think those Stafford stacks definitely look very, very good and very, very underowned. And these Kyler Murray stacks look pretty good too. Let's go to my favorite GPP stacks now. This is where we make our money, like we did last week with the Lamar Jackson and the Tua stacks. So, like I said, the Matthew Stafford stacks I absolutely love this week. I think they're going to be very underowned, in my opinion. Love those. So, let's go to my favorite, if not my favorite, stack this week. And that is Joe Burrow doubles. And let me explain. You have Jamar Chase at 8.1K that's going to get absolutely no ownership. Let's just look at his ownership. Right now, 1% ownership. The reason he's 1% owned is because you have Stephon Diggs for less, you have Tyreek Hill for less, You have AJ Brown for less. You have Cooper Kupp for not a lot more. You have Justin Jefferson for not a lot more. So with Jamar Chase getting absolutely no ownership this week, and T. Higgins gaining all the ownership, T. Higgins is going to be a very popular play this week as a one-off, which I like him a lot for cash, not so much for tournaments, but um, this double with Hayden Hurst possibly, or T. Higgins just going completely unowned up against the Jets as well. Um, Absolutely love it. It might be my favorite GPP stack of the week. And then if I'm bringing it back with anyone, right now everyone's going to go to Garrett Wilson in bringbacks. Well, I like the usage that he's gotten. I don't know if it's going to sustain. So if everyone's going to go to Garrett Wilson and GPPs, just give me Elijah Moore for $5,000, and who I think has a more sustainable route to production, in my opinion, right now. So yeah, Joe Burrow doubles. I'm absolutely in love with right now. Absolutely in love with. Let's take a look at some other under-owned stacks. We'll go over the puke stack last. Kansas City. Now, don't worry about blowouts. If Kansas City is up 30 points and they pull their starters, that means they still got there regardless. So don't worry about blowouts. But Patrick Mahomes, 7.9K, is not going to get a lot of ownership this week. Kansas City, in my opinion, is still a fantasy carnival. So I think these stacks look great. I think Juju's production is going to come back. I like Hardman for the ceiling. And pay up to be contrarian this week. Everyone's going to go to Irv Smith Jr., so why not just pay up for Travis Kelce? He's going to be like, what, 5% owned, I'd have to guess? Let's take a look. 3% owned, Travis Kelce. And the reason being is the price, and Irv Smith Jr. is underpriced. So I really like this double stack, especially if you can get in like Kelce. And there's as far as the bring back options, it's pretty bleak. So with Pittman back, I'm off Doolin. With Alec Pearson, that just hurts Campbell and Doolin. I guess Pittman not going to go to the tight ends. They ran a bunch of tight ends last week, so the bring back options are looking pretty bleak. But love Patrick Mahomes. I think Lamar stacks. I don't particularly like the spot this week, but if he's going to be under owned, fine. It's Lamar Jackson. Um, Price went up. Don't like the spot, but if they're going to be under owned, fine with it for GPPs. And then let's go over my puke stack that I really, really like this week. And that is the other side of this Kirk Cousins game, and that is Jared Goff. And I know you're puking, but they have just been. I think the Detroit Lions right now are a very, very good team. They have a bunch of weapons. They can get the ball to two guys, DeAndre Swift and Amon-Ra St. Brown. They have a tight end in TJ Hawkinson that is producing a ton of volume that I think will be 0% owned. I absolutely love TJ Hawkinson as a pivot off Irv Smith this week. If you want one of my favorite GPP pivots, I think TJ Hawkinson is one of my favorite if he plays. But yeah, Jared Goff, puke stack. Absolutely love Amon-Ra St. Brown. As you guys know, the Sun God, I absolutely love this week. And then this will probably be my double stack. And then I'd probably just bring it back with JJ or Dalvin Cook, who will be very, very popular. Let's go over some plays that I like that we didn't go over in cash game. So obviously, sorry about that, guys. So obviously, I really like Dalvin Cook. He's going to be extremely popular, though. I like Swift. I did, I did like Josh Jacobs. We're just gonna have to monitor that news. Miles Sanders, I really like a running back. Joe Mixon, like wide receiver. If you can pay up for Cup, obviously love. Um, like I said for GPPs, I'm absolutely in love with Jamar Chase this week. Tyreek Hill, as you know, gonna get ownership, but can't go wrong there. Sorry, I have like I feel like I have to cough. Trying to see if there's anyone I missed. I feel like I went over everything. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed that. Didn't go over all the stacks, but I you guys like this type of video better. So yeah, ask me anything you want. I will always get back to you. Let's chop it up.